So this is a follow along overhead mobility routine. The first thing we're going to do is take a look at what our overhead mobility is like at the start before we do the routine. And this is also a great way to track your progress day to day and week to week. So we're going to hold a stick in a reverse grip, so palms facing towards you, and you want to make sure you've got full grip on that, and you don't want to let it come off at any point during the movement. So a full hold of that stick. You're going to sit with your back flat against a wall, and the key here is you want to make sure that your lower back stays flat on the wall the entire time, and that your ribs stay down. So if you feel you're going into too much of an arch, that probably means you're going further than your true range. You're kind of cheating the movement. So we hold shoulder width apart in that reverse grip, ribs down. We lift up, going as far as we can without straining. So when I get to about here, I could probably go further, but it would mean I'd have to kind of force it a little bit. So this is going to be my starting point for today, and we'll see where that is at the end. We're going to begin the routine with 2 minutes of breathing. So I want you to find a comfortable position, either lying on your back or on your stomach. And you're just going to think about relaxing. So in this position, I like to take big inhales. And then slow, controlled exhales. So I'm just going to time this. There's no right or wrong way to breathe here. Over time, you might find that a more diaphragmatic breathing pattern helps you relax a little more. So that's inhaling through your nose, expanding your abdomen, and then exhaling slowly and controlled through your mouth. So inhale and exhale. The key here is that you're just able to find a way of breathing and a position where you're able to let your body relax a little bit. You might want to just let your arms soften to the side. And bring awareness to anywhere that you're feeling tension. That maybe you're not able to just relax through a few breaths. And if you can feel that tension, see if you can, on your exhale, maybe just release a little bit of that. And take a few more breaths. And then we're going to move into some static stretching. Now, I like to begin with this type of stretching because it really kind of facilitates that relaxation. So we're going to do our A position, T position, Y position, our posterior shoulder position, and our sleeper stretch position. We're going to do 10 seconds in each of those. So you're going to begin lying A position, arms down about 30 degrees from your side. You're going to keep your shoulder on the floor as you roll over. And again, we're just focusing on our breathing. And we hold for about 10 seconds in this position. We'll come back. We're going to shift to our T position. So arms straight out to the side here. Shoulder stays down on the floor. We roll over. And you'll find that each of these different arm positions hits a slightly different line of tension. And it's not about forcing into any of these positions. It's just about getting into the positions, holding them, and relaxing. Coming back from this one, we're going to move to our Y position. So our Y position is about 30 degrees from vertical. And we roll over, keeping that shoulder down on the floor. Most people find this one the most challenging. And coming back, we're going to move to our posterior shoulder capsule stretch. So arm loops under the other arm, getting that stretch around here. And just try and sink into that position. Nice deep breath. We'll finish with 10 seconds in our sleeper stretch position. We're going to do this one in a little more detail in a second, but for now, knees out to the side, body stacked vertically, arm up here, the shoulder stays down on the floor. We just bring this arm down. We'll go through this setup in a lot more detail in a second. But now we're just trying to relax, trying to feel where there's tension. This one is always tight for me after a really hard workout. Good. We're going to do the other side. So coming back onto our stomach, coming into our A position, arm about 30 degrees, and rolling over, keeping that shoulder on the floor, getting that nice stretch through the front of your chest. Coming out, we'll go to our T position. I'm just bending my knees so I don't hit the wall. So don't feel that you have to bend your knees as well. So arm out to the side. Rolling over, getting that nice stretch. Good. We're doing about 10 seconds in each position here. So this one is about 30 degrees. That's our wide position. And keep that shoulder down. Again, really move slowly into these positions. Right? Stretching is about slowly moving with full awareness, full control into positions, being mindful of where you're feeling it, what you're feeling, and just trying to relax a little bit more, trying to let go of some of that tension. And coming back, we're going to do our posterior shoulder. So arm loops through and get that stretch on the outside. So, oh, this one's tight. So just relaxing into that and just put as much weight as feels good right now. There's no need to force it into a position you could get into last time, or a position that you see I'm in. Just go with what feels good for you right now. And the last one, going into our sleeper. So bring your knees in front, arm up, just getting that rotation. So in this one, the shoulder stays down, and we just get that rotation. This is kind of the ball rotating in the socket. It's not the whole shoulder joint. Good. So that's our nice little warm-up. We're going to get into our first big stretch, and that's going to be our sleeper stretch. So for this one, you're going to want something to rest your head on. I have this nice yoga cushion. You can use a yoga block cushion, anything that you can just use to rest your head on, because we're going to be in this position for a while. So this one, I'm going to use the timer so I get this time right. Just going to place your head on the cushion. It's nice and relaxed, right? You want to make sure that your hips are stacked and your shoulders are stacked. So I'm not leaning back over here and I'm not too far forward, right? Nice and stacked. We're going to have our knees, right? If we think 90 degrees, I'm just going to open them up a tiny bit. And then I'm going to think about my upper arm being in line with my legs, so parallel to my legs. And that gives you kind of a good idea of where that arm goes. I'm going to bend your arm. And then as you bring this arm down, right, remember it's that rotation of the ball in the socket. So I could push this all the way down. You can see my shoulders lifting off the floor here, right? But that's not the stretch we're going for. We're trying to keep that down and rotate the ball in the socket. we're directing this hand towards our crotch in this direction. Okay, so this is the setup. We're going to do a 2-minute hold in this position. So get comfortable. Use your other hand to help and just chill out here. Notice where you feel tension. Bring awareness to that tension, to that area, and then just see, can you relax that a little more? And that's not necessarily an easy thing to do. So if the answer there is no, that's absolutely fine. That's something that we're going to work on in this stretching. A huge part of increasing range of motion is learning how to relax in positions. And when I say learning, right, I say that because it's a skill, something that requires practice, something that takes time. It's not something where you're just going to be able to do it straight away, right? So you have to practice it. You have to try it. And some of the techniques we're going to use are going to facilitate that and make that easier. So let's see, how long have I been in? We've been in for 1 minute, 15 seconds. So we've got 45 more seconds in this position. You might find right now that you've already moved a little deeper into the stretch. And that is fantastic. When we've been in this stretch for 2 minutes, what we're going to do is we're doing our Pails and Rails contractions. So you'll know these from mobility classes if you've been going to those. So the basic idea of your Pails and Rails contraction is you're going to ramp up, okay, starting with a gentle 20% contraction, 40%, 60%, 80%, all the way up to 100%. And then we're going to push at 100% for count of 5, and then we're going to slowly ramp down that contraction, and then we're going to pull in the other direction. Okay, so that's our 2 minutes. So we're going to do this first contraction, which is actually, I'm going to try and push this hand in this direction. Okay, it's going to be isometric because this hand is stopping it from moving. So we're going to start with that 20%. So push into your hand at about 20%, 40, 60, ramping it up, 80, all the way up to 100. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then slowly let go of that contraction. Then we're going to pull our arm down. So I'm trying to pull my hand off this hand. So I'm trying to pull this in this direction towards the floor. So from here I'm going, okay, 20%, 40%, 60, 80. I'm really pulling 100. Hold for 3, 4, 5. I'm going to put this hand in this new range, and then I'm going to relax. So we're now got a little bit more range. We're going to see if we can get a little bit more. So take a nice breath. As I exhale, maybe I've got a little bit more range. Okay, the idea of this Pails and Rails contraction is you usually get a few degrees extra range of motion after. So as you relax, see if you can allow your body to sink a little deeper into the stretch. So we're going to do 2 more of those Pails, Rails contractions. So starting with our Pails, we're pushing this hand up in this direction. Okay, so starting with 20%, 40%, 60, 80, 100. It's getting pretty hard now. Hold it. 2, 3, 4, 5, and slowly let that contraction go. And then we're going to pull in the other direction. So 20%, 40%, 60, 80, pulling as hard as you can, trying to get that arm down to the floor. 4, 5, bring your hand down to reach. And don't worry, if that hand doesn't move, that's perfectly fine. And now try and relax. See if you can let go of some tension. Sometimes this extra tension that we create through these contractions allows us to know where we're creating tension and really helps us to feel the relaxation and to be able to control the relaxation. So just relaxing. Oh, we get a little bit more range. We'll hang out here. And let's go one more round. So pushing this hand up in this direction at 20%, 40%, 60, 80, 100. Holding that for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then reduce that contraction. From here, we're going to try and pull one more time, pull our hand down to the floor. 20, 40, a little more, 60, 80, 100, really good, holding that. And bring our hand to meet this hand. See if you can relax. Take a nice deep breath and see if we can get a little deeper. Nice. And we're just going to hang out here for a few seconds, learning to relax in this new range of motion. Good. And you can slowly come out of that position. Absolutely fantastic. So let's go to the other side. These stretches take a lot of time. So reset. We're going to go 2 minutes on the other side. So this one shouldn't take as long because we don't have so much time for setting up. Okay. On our side, shoulder stacked, hips stacked. We're going to have our knees slightly more open than 90. Elbow in line, upper arm in line with legs. Hand comes towards your crotch. So then we start with our 2-minute static hold. Just chilling out. Just relaxing in this position. So this position is shoulder internal rotation, and it might seem, that this isn't necessarily a stretch that's going to help us with our overhead range of motion. But if we think about, that's 34 seconds. If we think about the ball and socket joint, so we have, that socket in our shoulder, we have the ball at the top of our arm. If we're really tight, deep in that shoulder joint, it's going to limit our movement in all directions. And so by working on this stretch, by making the movement better deep in the shoulder capsule, we get better movement in all directions, and we get better shoulder flexion, we get better shoulder extension. And this is why this one really helps with our overhead position for our handstand. Even though handstand doesn't really look much like this. So chill out here, relax. We've got another 40 seconds, just trying to relax. And as always, no forcing yourself into positions, right? You don't take this hand and be like, I'm going to push harder. Okay, think of this hand as just a facilitator, right? When your body relaxes a little more, this hand will just help it move a little deeper. So there's no increase in pressure to move you further down. It's just you're decreasing the tension you're holding. So we're ready for our first Pails contraction. We're going to ramp up and push this hand up in this direction. So starting with 20%, then 40%, 60%, 80%, 100, and let's go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. And then we're going to pull in the other direction. So we're trying to pull our hand towards the floor, pull it away from this hand, and it might not move anywhere. It's really about increasing that, ramping up that contraction. So let's play up at about 100 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and slowly let that relax. Fantastic. Now we take a deep breath and we see if we've got a few extra degrees range of motion. And look at that. As if by magic, and get that extra range of motion. And don't worry if you don't, right? Sometimes you won't and you'll do another round and then you will, right? So listen to your body. Don't force it if you don't get a little bit extra range. Okay? It's about exploring. Let's go round 2. So pushing that hand, pushing this hand in this direction. So starting with 20%, 40%, 60, 80, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then pulling your hand down towards the floor. So 20, 40, pulling as hard as you can, 60, 80, 100, and holding 2, 3, 4, 5, and bring this hand to meet this hand and relax. Now really make sure you're keeping the shoulder down on the floor. As you relax, see if you get a little bit extra range of motion there. Now this is hard work. Don't be surprised if you do get some DOMs the day after doing this. You're working really hard at your end ranges, so it's to be expected. Okay, let's go last round. We're going to push at 20%, 40, 60, 80, 100, and relax. Oh no, we go for 5, 4, 3, hopefully you caught that, 2, 1, and then we're going to try and pull our hand down towards the floor, so our rails contraction. So we're pulling in this direction. 3, 2, 1. Take a nice deep breath, relax, see if you've got any more range in you. I'm going to hang out here for a few seconds. Good. Okay, so coming up, so our shoulders should be feeling pretty good. We've got pretty good movement now. This next exercise is strengthening shoulder external rotation. So for this one, you're going to sit cross-legged and you're going to bring your back up against the wall. So very similar to when we were doing that assessment. You have your lower back pressed into the wall, your ribs down. What we're going to do is bring our elbows to the wall at about shoulder height. And then we're going to bring our arms up. And if your hands can touch the wall, what you're going to do is you're going to go 10 seconds pushing your hands into the wall. Okay, so as if you're trying to get more of that rotation. So from here, pushing into the wall. Now, for some of you, you might not be able to get into that position. So what you're going to do is you're going to do one arm at a time, and you're going to rotate slightly towards that side, just to make it a little easier, so that you can get your hand flat on the wall, and then you can push that hand into the wall into more shoulder external rotation. So if you can do both together, do both together. If you need to do one at a time, you might have to pause the video and do one at a time here. So we're going to go 10 seconds. Bring your hands up, keeping your back on the wall. We're going to go 10 seconds. Push your hands into the wall. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. You're going to feel those muscles, the back of your shoulder working hard here. And relax. We're going to do 6 sets of 10 seconds. Okay, really strengthening that position. So let's go again. Elbows about shoulder height. Rotate. And pushing your hands into the wall. So we're not pushing our elbows in here. We're keeping our elbows on the wall, but it's our hands and wrists that we're pushing into the wall here. 8, 9, 10. And relax. So that's 2 rounds, 4 to go. Thumbs up, rotate, and go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 3 to go. Right? If you're doing these, I'll show you again. If you're doing these one at a time, you might be able to turn a little bit just so you can set up in that position. Right? If you're doing 2 at a time, you're going to Go for another round of your 2 at a time, 1 at a time. You're going to go push your hand into the wall. 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10. And then you would do the other side. So just rotate a little to the other side, your arm up, and press your hand into the wall. 2, 3. You can play with both of these, even if you are able to get both your hands on the wall. 8, 9, 10. I've got one more. We'll do that together. Elbows shoulder height. Your hands up and press your hands into the wall. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Whoa, some good work going on at the back of the shoulders there. Let's move into our next stretch. This next stretch is a shoulder flexion and Pails and Rails. So for this one, you're going to need a bench or chair, something you can place your arms on. Now you can place your hands on the bench, but I like to reach up and place almost up to my elbows on the bench. And this is partly because I hyperextend my elbows, but even if you don't, placing your hands on can put a little bit of pressure on your elbows. So you might find it beneficial to go all the way up to your elbows on the bench. Now we're going to get into this position as a 2-part process. So we start off ribs down, butt tucked, elbows on here, hands shoulder width apart. We're going to sit back without arching our back and really getting that full stretch through your shoulder and lat. So we sit back, get that stretch. Once you've got as far as you can, then you're going to keep your lower back flat, but let your chest drop. And then we get a little more into our thoracic spine. So we're going to do this Pails and Rails style. So 2 minutes in this position, setting up, shoulder width apart, sitting back, letting your chest drop. And we're just hanging out here, trying to relax in this position. Now it can be challenging to relax in this one because you also are trying to maintain good torso position. This is where relaxing some parts of your body while maintaining tension in others is an important skill. Now, as you're doing this, try not to let your shoulders internally rotate. So if you feel like your armpits are rotating out the way and your shoulder blades are squeezing together, okay, see if you can resist that. And you can even turn your arms so your thumbs are facing up. Okay, and that'll help prevent going into that internal rotation. Okay, so we've been in here 1:15. So just try and relax. Remember, nice deep breaths. There's no forcing into position here. You don't need to feel pain in order to improve your mobility, right? Slight discomfort, right? You want to feel that slight stretch, but no pain. So now we're going to do our Pails and Rails. So our Pails for this one is actually going to be pushing our arms down into the bench. Okay, so we're pushing down and we're ramping that up. So we're going to start with 20%, 40%, pushing down a little harder, 60, 80, 100. That's why you want a nice soft bench here. With 3, 2, 1. And now we're going to try and lift our arms up. Now this one probably is completely impossible, just the position we're in and physics, but we're still going to try and lift our arms up. You're going to contract the muscles, the back of your arms. So I'm contracting up here as if I'm trying to lift my arms up off the bench. 8, 9, 10. And then I relax. There's a lot of tension to let go of from this one. So see if I can relax. Sink a little deeper. And let's go round 2. So 20%, 40, 60, 80, 100, pushing as hard as you can. 3, 2, 1, and relax. And then we try and lift our arms. So this one feels really weird, but I'm contracting all those muscles on the back of my arms, all the way down my back. And then relax. Again, there's a lot of things to relax here, a lot of things we're working there. So deep breath and sink a little deeper. Now, if you're getting pins and needles in your fingers, you can move your fingers around a little bit. Or if you're losing blood, with any of these stretches, feel free to come out early if you're in any kind of pain or more than mild discomfort, or even if you're just not sure. Okay, round 3. So ramping this up, pushing your arms down into the bench for 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Trying to lift your arms up, contracting everything on the back of your shoulders, down through your back. 7, 8, 9, 10, and relax. So see if you can feel where you're holding on to tension. Let go of it. Take a deep breath and just sink a little deeper into that stretch. Good. And coming up. Whew. So we just did our shoulder flexion, Pails and Rails. We're going to do a little bit of active work now, really strengthening those end ranges. So for this one, you're going to lie on your stomach. You're going to bring your arms down to your side. Okay, palms flat on the floor. You're going to create nice, good body tension. And then you're going to begin by lifting your arms as high as you can into shoulder extension. So, okay, you're trying to imagine that there's something under your hands. You're trying to lift as high as you can. We're not letting them come out yet. We're still squeezing together. From here, you're going to squeeze your shoulder blades together as you bring your arms out to the side. Keep squeezing them together. Keep squeezing them together. Your head's going to be on the floor and your head's up so that you guys can hear me. Bringing your arms up. Feel your shoulder blades rotating as you keep lifting. Keep your arms straight, bringing them all the way overhead. And then slowly place them down on the floor. Okay, and we're going to go back the other direction. So I'm going to put my forehead on the floor. I'm going to lift as we come around the side. Feel your shoulder blades move down, like rotate down. Squeeze your shoulder blades together here. Coming all the way back, bring them far together as you can, and then lower down. So we're going to do 2 more reps in your own time. Whew. So I'm sure you're feeling a lot of things firing in the back of your shoulders and in your back right now. We're going to do one more stretch, and this is going to be our thoracic rotations. So this one we really focus on using our breath. So you're going to begin lying on your side, right? Knees on top of each other, hips on top of each other, shoulders on top of each other. You're going to start with your arms together. You're going to rotate this hand so your thumb is on the floor. And you're going to circle that arm around, keeping your thumb on the floor until it's all the way over to the other side. When you're in this position, you're going to take a nice big inhale. Think about that chest breath, so expanding your rib cage as you inhale. And coming back. Now, if you can't get all the way to that end position, just go as far as you can. So it might just be to here. Taking a big inhale. And coming back. Okay, so we're going to do 5 reps. Circling around. Big inhale. And back. We want this rotation to come from the upper back. And one more. And let's do the other side. So rolling over. Circling around. And big inhale. And back. 4 more reps. One more. So we started off this class by seeing where our mobility was at. We're now going to finish the class by doing the same thing. So you're going to remember, you're going to do this against the wall, butt tucked, lower back flat on the wall. Hands about shoulder width apart in a reverse grip. And you can see there's significantly more range of motion here without any straining. So I think it worked.